More than 25,000 Navy and Marine Corps personnel will take part in large-scale exercise 2021 this summer. The biggest naval exercise of this generation will test the services to prepare for possible conflict with China or Russia. Admiral Jamie Foggo, U.S. Navy retired, is a distinguished fellow at the Center for European Policy Analysis. He's former commander of U.S. Naval Forces Europe and Africa. Jamie, welcome. Thanks for coming on the program. You and I, when you were still in uniform, talked about an exercise that you were involved with at the time called Exercise Trident Juncture. What did you learn from that that can apply to the sailors and Marines and other personnel that will participate in this huge event happening this summer?
Francis, thank you very much for inviting me back on your show, Government Matters. It's a pleasure to be here today on this sunny day in Washington, D.C. And yes, I had the pleasure of commanding probably one of the largest exercises since the end of the Cold War, Exercise Trident Juncture in 2018. Rather cold up there north of the Arctic Circle in October, November of 18. So we learned how to fight in cold weather, but you have to train like you fight. It was a huge exercise, 50,000 soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines from 30 NATO nations and 2 partners, Sweden and Finland. We had 10,000 tracked and rolling vehicles that came off and on 70 large ships, the Harry S. Truman Strike Group, Iwo Jima Expeditionary Strike Group with our Marines coming from the United States, as well as about 270 different aircraft from all different nations and all different type model series. Logistics was key. We moved 7 brigades in 30 days. We learned a lot about that and rolled that back into future exercises, and I'm sure lessons learned in the large-scale exercise. We established about 60 bases, did 360 airlifts, moved 60 container ships, about 2,200 containers. Over the course of the exercise, a month, 1 million meals served, and 35,000 beds established for troops when they got a little bit of time to sleep. So an enormous undertaking. And I think that the United States Navy and Marine Corps are now leading the way in a combination of, Trident Juncture was live. It was a live X, real hardware, real people. We're now doing a hybrid version of that with both live and virtual, the live virtual concept. This is the wave of the future. It's going to be how we train future generations of warriors using gaming and simulation to augment the actual hardware and people that are at sea. So I'm really proud of the Navy for that.
One of the things you pointed out to me off the air that appears to be important about this exercise that's coming this summer is a United States Navy and Marine Corps exercise. The exercise you just talked about included all the partners that and allies that you referenced. What's the difference in the way that the Navy and Marine Corps will prepare for this, do you think, Jamie?
Well, we've been preparing for it for a long time, Francis, and I think the Navy and the Marine Corps want to execute this exercise and take the lessons learned, and eventually we'll get into the interoperability with our allies and partners. As you know, Secretary of Defense Austin spoke at Admiral Davidson's change of command ceremony at Indo-PACOM, and he launched the initiative of integrated defense. So, we've got the British carrier going to the Western Pacific with an American ship. We had the French carrier in the Persian Gulf covering down for us, and we had the Italian carrier here in Norfolk doing F-35 integration training. That's the wave of the future. But for right now, the Navy is experimenting with networks and live virtual training to be a force multiplier for how we train our warriors. We're going to have 25,000 personnel involved in this. It is both live and virtual. So they're currently planning for about 36 or 36 ships at sea, or as the Navy refers to them, units, so small and large, and 50 more units, and that could be crews or teams that will be training in our maritime operations centers around the globe. This exercise will be across 17 time zones. That is amazing. And it will integrate Europe and Africa with the command center, the Maritime Operations Center in Norfolk at Fleet Forces Command, and out at Pac Fleet Command in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. I was planning this when I was on active duty with Admiral Grady in Norfolk and Admiral Aquilina, who's now the PACOM commander, but it was delayed about a year because of COVID. I regret the chance that I didn't have the opportunity to participate, because I think this is going to be something really special, and there's going to be some tremendous lessons learned and value added out of it.
One of the lessons learned you compared before we went on the air to one of your favorite books. What's that comparison, Admiral?
Yeah, thanks, Francis. So this is, first of all, this is live and virtual, so about 50-50. It's going to save money. I mean, you have to invest in the live virtual concept for gaming and simulation in the network. But ultimately, we're not burning fossil fuels for, over half of the ships or teams in this exercise. There's no wear and tear on that hardware. And, readiness and modernization in our industrial base are very busy keeping our ships at sea right now. So we're not going to put that extra wear and tear on the hardware or the software. That's the people, the sailors, who they're going to work hard during this exercise, and they're going to have long hours, but they will be in their home ports during the time that we're conducting this. Now, on the book, so one of my favorite books is Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. It was made into a great movie, and it's a story about a threat against the world, the potential annihilation of our way of life. And the main character is Ender Wiggins, hence the name Ender's Games. He's a cadet. He's kind of a loner. He's very aggressive. And the admirals and generals of the International Fleet recognize his tactical genius, so they cultivate him to be a warrior, and he becomes one. The way they train him is to put him into difficult, almost impossible gaming and simulation exercises. He gets really, really good. Then they give him a final exam. They take him into the room, and because for Ender, it's a game, he takes additional risk. He puts people in harm's way, and he absolutely obliterates and annihilates the enemy. At the end of the game, the admirals and generals pull back the black screen to reveal that this was real. Ender has just fought and ended the war for us. Now, what live virtual gives you is that life imitating art or art imitating life? A little of both. Live virtual gives you the opportunity to take some risk, and if it doesn't work out, then reset and repeat. Adjust your doctrine, adjust your training, adjust your tactics and your strategy, and do it again, and do it again, and do it again, just like Ender, until you become so good that, first of all, the adversaries, who will all be watching this large-scale exercise, will not want to go into conflict with us. That's deterrence. We want to fight to win, but we want to win without fighting. And we want to make sure that anybody that would challenge us will understand that we're the best that there is out there. And this exercise is going to prove it. Furthermore, also proud of the Navy Marine Corps and Admiral Mike Gilday for leading the charge on this integration in the joint battle space. This is going to be across all domains of warfare, and it kind of bodes well for the future initiative that's being discussed in the Pentagon that's called JADC2, Joint All Domain Command and Control. I think this is where we're going, and a lot of the future fights are going to be in cyber and space.
Admiral Foggo, thanks very much for joining me. Always great to have you here.
Great to be here, Francis. Thank you so much. See you next time.